Talk Nation. Welcome back once again. It's your host, the G-Man, as we continue with our 2016 team-by-team fantasy preview. Today we're going to talk about those Dallas Cowboys, and last year was an absolute debacle for the Cowboys, which I am extremely happy about as an Eagles fan. But I think with health comes a return to fantasy relevance for a lot of these players. Let's start at the top with Tony Romo. Tony Romo is a quality fantasy quarterback, probably can be a late round number one if he stays healthy. I would be more comfortable drafting him as my number two for two reasons. Number one, the injuries. Number two, I think they're going to run the hell out of the ball, not only because they have a great offensive line, they drafted a great running back, but because their defense is going to be awful, and I think they're going to try to take the air out of the clock. If they wind up having to get in a shootout and the other team scores points, Romo certainly has the ability to do that for you, but I'd be more comfortable drafting him as my number two quarterback. At the running back position, they're loaded. Ezekiel Elliott probably has a chance to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I wouldn't be surprised with 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. I know that is a ton to expect of a rookie, and he does have the now specter of domestic violence hanging over his head, as every other player on the Cowboys seem to have hanging over their head. But he has the talent to do it. The offensive line is the best in football. Elliott, I think, is going to be an absolute monster. He can also pick up the blitz and pass protection, so he's going to play almost every down. Alfred Morris got screwed by the drafting of Ezekiel Elliott. I still think he has the talent behind that offensive line. He could have been a 1,200-yard rusher himself. He is going to be a spot player at best. Don't listen to what they tell you in the preseason. They didn't bring Ezekiel Elliott in here to split time with Alfred Morris. Same thing with Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden at this point, almost undraftable. Had a great year for them last year. Just doesn't have the ability to stay healthy. He's hurt already, and he's certainly going to be behind those other two guys. So Elliott, top 5 running back. Alfred Morris, late number 3, early number 4, just as a handcuff to Elliott. Darren McFadden, undraftable. Dez Bryant is the one to really be interested in from a wide receiver perspective, although he's fallen considerably from where he used to be. He used to be drafted in that top 5 to 8 category. The injuries and the chance that Romo gets hurt as well drops him out of my top 10. He's probably a number 2 receiver. He's a good number 2 receiver, maybe the best number 2 receiver, but I can't draft him as my number 1 overall. Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley. Terrence Williams, I guess, is probably a 4. He'll have the occasional big game because he does have deep speed. If they used him more, I think he has the talent to be better than that, but I think they're unwilling to do so. So I'm not willing to bank on him. Cole Beasley, I guess, has some value in a PPR. He's a slot machine. He catches probably 70 balls, but for only 700 yards, he's not a big touchdown guy. So in a standard league, he can avoid. Jason Witten, ultra consistent. So if you want 5 catches for 50 yards, he's your guy. At tight end, that's not terrible, but there's a lot of upside talent at tight end this year, so he probably slips to a number 2 tight end, though I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up his touchdowns a little bit with Romo healthy. Defensively, do not go near the Dallas Cowboys defense. They have no pass rush, which means they're not going to get sacks. They're not going to turn the ball over. Maybe the second half of the year that improves, but early on, I wouldn't even list them as a replacement defense. And with your 2016 team-by-team fantasy preview of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm your host, G-Man, and I am out.